Hi, hello, and welcome to episode 17 of the Money Talks. And trust me, this was when I started the Money Talks. If there was one person I really wanted to interview, and I knew that I had to get in a very nice episode for him. It was the person you have right in front of you, the one, the only Ashish Tulsian, right? From Posist. Ashish, welcome.
प्रेशर ये सब बात बोलने के लिए मैंने कोई पैसा नहीं दिया है, मैं प्रॉमिस कर रहा हूँ.
आप देते तो लेता भी नहीं, जरूरत नहीं थी.
वो अलग बात है.
Because I mean, so I still remember the first time I met Ashish. It was just a random meeting at our office. It was you, me, and Apurva, and we just remember कि 1.5 घंटे तक we were just laughing. Right? You had stories, we had stories, back and forth, all the way from the Connaught Place things that happened and everything, right? And I was like, I just met this guy. I don't even know who he is. But we had the most amazing 90 minutes of all time. And then we met again, obviously, multiple times. And then Delhi night happened with all the Kolkata boys.
Yes.
And then obviously that was legendary. And so on and so forth, man. It's so I'm so glad. I'm so glad that I finally have you on the show. And today there's going to be an audience that's really looking forward to listening to you. A lot of my founders have heard so much of the gyan you've given me that I think they finally will hear it from the person that I keep quoting.
But thank you. Thanks for inviting. This is great. Thank you.
So we'll start off by obviously talking about, like, if you could tell us, what does Posist do and what is your role in Posist?
Posist is a restaurant tech company. I invested in a restaurant because I thought being a restaurant owner is cool. Trust me, it wasn't. It was the most difficult business I've ever seen, actually. I think अगर आपको किसी से revenge लेना हो तो उसका restaurant खुलवा दो, वो बर्बाद हो जाएगा. That is one of the most difficult business. I think in a positive way, I have deep respect for all the restaurant owners. They literally work 24/7. So I experienced that firsthand and ended up building a product for our own restaurant because we did not know how to cook or how to solve restaurant troubles, but we knew how to solve tech troubles, and that gave birth to Posist. So we ate our own dog food. Other restaurant owners discovered the product from our restaurant. Our first 10 customers came through word of mouth, or rather, I would say we were fortunate that some of them, arm twisted us to get their way in, made us give the product to them, and that's what made us realize that, okay, we are not only solving the problem for ourselves, but there are restaurants outside who we can help, and that started the journey of Posist. So today we are a restaurant tech company, like a full-scale restaurant tech company, which cuts from a point-of-sale system to kitchen management, to back-end inventory control, to CRM, feedback management, online ordering, mobile ordering. So it's a suite of 14 products which serve a single restaurant to a large restaurant chain, but only within the realm of F&B business.
So how many restaurants today have Posist, or would count Posist as, or possible count them as a customer?
So we have some 8,000 plus stores and across 1,900 unique brands. And a large part of it now comes from larger chains which are 100 plus stores. From our 2012 to now, it has been 8.5 years. And first half of our journey was largely about SMBs to mid-market, single restaurants to few restaurant large chains. So they still stay with us as clients. So this 8,000 has almost all kinds of cohorts available.
So you must have raised over $1 billion to get there?
Absolutely. VCs were showering money at me. We had to really say, नहीं. I think मुझे ऐसा लगता है कभी-कभी कि हमारा business इतना boring है कि ना तो कोई पैसे दे रहा था और ना कोई competition दे रहा था.
But you're one of those rare B2B SaaS businesses in India. But I think there's more of them. Well, I say call it rare, but I think it is definitely a class of its own that has raised less than 3 or 4 crores and would be and is counted as a category leader, not just in India, probably globally.
Much less than that. I can only tell you that we bootstrapped, in the true sense. I think in 2012 we bootstrapped, and in 2014 our year 3 end, we raised a small round of angel capital, which is less than today 15 days of our revenue in total. And we were fortunate to get some really awesome angel investors on board. So in fact, we raised that round partially just to get them on board. We just wanted some good guys on our side. and we never raised again. Although, in all honesty, we thought about it multiple times. I think there is this fight which I can tell you as a founder, I always have within myself. Me and Sakshi are also discussing it a lot at times. कि यार जब कुछ बहुत अच्छा चल रहा होता है तो you wonder कि यार opportunity को suffocate तो नहीं कर रहे हैं by not having a lot of money, you know. And I think I don't know what is the answer to that. I have just become more numb to that question. I haven't found the answer. So there have been spurts where we wanted to raise capital, but somehow every time that happened, something else also happened. Some large customer gave us a lot of money, and we said, "Ki, arey chal, 6 mahine baad dekhenge abhi kya karna."
Customer capital, as you know, the popular word that is out there.
Our complete product and company has been built by customer money and continues to build by customer money, and that is also the DNA what our team has. So if you will ever talk to anybody in Posist, any sales, any account manager, anyone in Posist on the front facing role, and you will hear that discipline very, very clearly. पैसे देंगे तो आगे काम होएगा, और अगर if there is no money which is coming in, that means there is no value being generated, and if there's no value being generated, करना क्यों है? रहने देते हैं ना, आप भी छोड़ो, क्या करोगे इस फीचर का? So that has genuinely played out very well for us.
You obviously growing up in the Delhi startup ecosystem, right? Not generally known for B2B SaaS companies, but how is that experience of being in the Delhi startup ecosystem?
I don't know. I think I've never related to Delhi startup ecosystem as something specific. In fact, thanks to my enough traveling, a lot of people believe that I'm from Bangalore. I mean, a lot of Bangalore startups have asked me, "You are in Bangalore, right?" And I'm like, "No, we always meet you, sir. I can always fly." So, but I think I never looked at that as Delhi startup ecosystem. But on that point of B2B, there's one thing. I'm not a part of this Delhi versus Bangalore versus Bombay debate ever. I still relate to. Exactly, you're right, sir. But I look at it like an Indian thing. But one thing I can tell you is that जितने IPO हुए हैं इंडिया में, वो सारे दिल्ली से आए हैं. तो मेरे को एक बात पक्का यकीन है कि दिल्ली में ना धंधा तो हो रहा है.
If we get into that debate, अपना एक घंटा ही निकल जाएगा. So we'll move on. But Ashish, you went to college in Delhi, and but you don't have a very fancy degree or anything like that, right? So you're one of those founders. Did you ever feel like, because I'm not an IIT Delhi or I'm not a IIM Ahmedabad or one of these fancy colleges, did that ever affect you in terms of the way you thought about business, the way you thought about raising money, or it did because IIT GEE results just came out, right? And people are all like 98% have failed and 2% make it. So just asking in that context, did you ever feel like what was your feeling like? I feel like यार मैंने कभी क्यों IIT नहीं किया types.
थोड़ा controversial answer है, but in all honesty, I think one is that I was fortunate that I never felt any less or more about that. I think I never got into any situation where somebody had to tell me, "Oh, you are not from IIT or IIM," or made me feel that, or in fact I got a feeling like that. So in my journey, I never got that feeling, thankfully. Second is that if at all I've ever thought कि यार ये IIT IIM, तो मेरे को लगा ओहो बच गया, मैं IIT IIM से होता तो शायद मेरा पूरा क्रेडिट IIT IIM को चला जाता. I can at least enjoy my own credit. Also, I realized one thing, and this is on a more serious note. I think one thing which has changed in me over a couple of years when I look at these badges, as the brand. When earlier, when other kids used to come to me, let's say people who are 5, 6, 7 years younger than you, and they will ask कि मैं preparation कर रहा हूँ, should I get into, like, should I root for this or not, should I shoot for it or not, I used to earlier very confidently tell them कि कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता यार, मतलब at the end of the day you need to build your life and मेहनत करेगा, all the cliched shit which is technically true कि मेहनत करेगा तो हो जाएगा, and you don't need to bother and worry and just give your best shot. And I think in the last couple of years that advice has changed, because I also saw certain results. I saw that people who took that advice in 2010 or 11, whether they and they were not able to, let's say, make it to any of the IITs or the IIMs, and I also saw their trajectory, and because they kept on taking advice, I realized कि यार ये आदमी हसल नहीं कर रहा है, and ये नेटवर्क बिल्ड नहीं कर रहा है, ये जाके लोगों से बात नहीं करता है, he is very very dependent on अब क्या करूं, नेक्स्ट कैसे होगा, ये कैसे फिगर आउट होगा. And it used to baffle me कि यार, why are you sitting on your ass? Like, go research, talk to 100 people, figure out, mana kar dega to mana kar dega, and some very basic things which came very naturally to me. And then I also saw the counterparts. I saw the same people, I mean, their peers who got through some of these institutions. And I saw the difference in them. So now my advice to people is that, see, you have two paths. One, if you are a hustler, and if you know how to get your stuff done, if you know how to get stuff out of thin air, it doesn't matter where you go. These institutions will not matter to your life. But if you're lazy, then you try and work harder and get through one of these brands, because most of the opportunities will come to you through your peers, through just by being there. So if you're lazy, then IIT IIMs is superb, because that rubs the credibility over you. And that actually this advice cuts through the thing, right? It cuts through everything, right? For example, why should you work for a Google? Why should you work for a McKinsey? Why should you? अगर आप lazy हो, पर आप sincere हो, laborious हो, and fairly decently smart ho, and you can get through some of these badges, then life will be good, because some of the things, I mean, most of the opportunities will come to you just because of that. So I think मुझे कभी नहीं feel हुआ. In fact, मुझे हमेशा लगा that my friends from IIT Kanpur only talk about their IIT Kanpur batchmates and friends. I can get you network from all IITs of their batch. So I think if you are really hustling, these things never bothered you. It never bothered me.
And I think that definitely led to your journey starting with TechnoApex Software, right? Your first company, your first startup. So
Yeah.
what I understand, you graduated, you decided, no need to get any job. Let's just set up our own company. And this is at a time when obviously forget about getting a job, but getting married was difficult if you were an entrepreneur.
True that. Again, Wobi, I think I've been too privileged in certain things. In only hindsight, you can see and feel कि अच्छा ये दुर्घटना हो सकती थी, बच गई. But इसमें मेरा कोई talent नहीं था. But no, I think I started TechnoApex, which was a telecom company, when I was in second year of college. So first year college, बहुत मस्ती मारी, and then I realized कि boss, if next 3 years are going to be this good, then it's going to get really boring. And I started toying with different ideas. And point was ki, can I write code? Can I make some money? If that is true to any extent, I will figure out how to multiply it. So we stumbled upon this opportunity. 197 Vijay Shekhar Sharma, I met him back in 2006 for the first time, and and he was हम लोग organize कर रहे थे Mobile Monday. And Mobile Monday mein Vijay gave a talk, and 197 was a 40 people company at that time. So it was a very passionate talk about कि वो telecom में क्या हो रहा है, और हम उससे पहले we were toying with this idea कि SMS based services कैसे build हो सकती है. So we were basically rose doing chakkars to Bharti, and उसमें वो था Hutch and Bharti's office asking कि यार हमें कैसे SMS based service build करने को मिल सकती है. So we did that, and we started building it. We built our own SMPP gateway, which is basically a SMS switching center gateway. So we used to deploy our gateway at the telco's infrastructure, help them relay SMS services to non-SIM card use cases, which is your transactional SMSs, and eventually that converted to marketing spam. So we did that, and that went very, very well, actually. VAS was a pretty profitable volume business. So 2006 to 11, we continued doing that. In fact, I graduated in 2007, and I also ended up hiring 2 of my batchmates in that. So that was a pretty triumphant high then. And 2010-11 was the time when I wanted to spread my wings. I wanted to become a MVNO, a mobile virtual network operator. So for people who don't understand that, for example, Virgin Mobile is a mobile virtual network operator. They don't really put their own towers. They will not take a license. They will sublet from the telco, and they will brand a SIM card, and they will resell the minutes of some other telco at the back. So
they buy it in bulk on the back end.
Correct.
They're like a wholesaler, reseller.
Like a Tata Docomo in India, for example, right? People did not do with their own license. They use Tata's bandwidth and resell it. We tried to do that. Turned out that virtual network operators are illegal in India. And मेरे को जो करना है उसके लिए पार्लियामेंट में लॉ पास कराना पड़ेगा. तो मैंने बोला कि ये हो गया, ये ना हो पाएगा. And that was a heartbreak. And I also wanted to spread my wings globally. So, and this has relevance to what we are doing at Posist today. That's why I'm spending a little bit of time there. We also realized that communication is the most regulated sector across the world, because no government is going to lose control over communication, no matter what country. So I realized कि ये telecom dream को यहीं park करना पड़ेगा and never do any business in life which has government regulation, government involvement in that, unless you are Mr. the one who should not be named, so that you can write the law. So
The most successful fundraiser in history.
Absolutely.
Or at least it's pandemic. At least it's pandemic.
Yeah. Not that he needs my credit, but with no disrespect. I think in 2011, there was a time when a lot of consolidation was happening, and we got an opportunity to sell. It was actually in a jiffy. One of the large telco got sold to another large telco. CFO from that telco came out. He called me one day and he said, "बेचोगे?" हमने बोला सर किधर आना है और चाबी कहाँ देनी है? So he said, "Oh, I thought that you will never sell." I said, "Yeah, I thought too, but last 7-8 months, I'm done. I'm not interested in this." And we were a very profitable, good business for a 24, 25-year-old. That was superb money to take home. But then your global domination ambition, was
not
kicking
done yet.
Yeah. So we sold that in 2011 mid. Thankfully, these were the days of non-tech crunch, no angels, no VCs. Flipkart was, kind of becoming the big thing, and this was the 2011 was the time when India was shining in the startup scene, was starting to shine. So those exits were less, blown up and more cash, more easy.
You were exiting when most people are struggling to enter. Let's put it that way.
That's a perk of starting early.
And then obviously, after that, I think you tried obviously your hand at something that you now claim you should have never done, which is started a restaurant. What was the restaurant about? What was the idea? What were you trying to do?
So the thing is that in between, Sakshi also, joined in. So Sakshi and me were college classmates, and Sakshi completed engineering and joined Sapient. She was the real engineer. I was barely, crossing through the engineering college, and she worked at Sapient for 2.5 years. We got married. She started a web development.
You all were dating from college itself?
We're dating.
So college sweethearts.
देखो सर ऐसा है कि मेरी शादी से तभी हो सकती थी जब आपने नोवाइस एज में लड़की को फंसा लिया हो। समझदार होने के बाद पॉसिबल नहीं था।
I'm gonna get Sakshi on one of these shows to cross verify that story.
2011, she also had a great run for 2 years, but then when I sold telecom company, she also decided to kind of switch off the services piece. I was never a services lover. She was also kind of done with it. We started a restaurant in between. We invested in the restaurant, and that happened just out of fluke. We thought and we hired a consultant. Consultant said, "आप चिंता मत करो, मैं आपके सारे पैसे ठिकाने लगा दूंगा." तो हमने बोला कि ये तो बहुत अच्छा आदमी है, and he basically took care of all the dirty job. Ours was just the mad passion that, and you also think ना जब आपको लगता है कि आप smart हो तो आपको लगता है कि ये जितने restaurant owners restaurants पे बैठे हैं तो losers हैं. I am smart. I will run the restaurant without even coming to the restaurant. So those were the great ideas we had, and we put that to practice. Horrible, result. Our restaurant was great. Our food was great. Our location was great. These were the saving grace.
What was it? Was it like a bar restaurant? What was the theme?
Yeah, this was called Rasoi Express. It was in north of Delhi, and it was North Indian, pure vegetarian, Mughlai, and pure vegetarian also because I come from a Marwadi family, and Sakshi, although comes from a Punjabi family, but she comes from a pure vegetarian household. So we opened a pure vegetarian restaurant, and this started as a quick service restaurant. It was on a high street, the most crowded location of North Delhi, and वो ऐसी location थी कि अगर आपने shutter उठाया है, and if you are cooking decent food, you will sell. You don't need to worry. So we did all those things right. Now the back end was the problem. The problem was that when you started dealing with the chefs, bartan dhone wala, tandoor, koile wala, sabzi wala, paneer wala, and then you also get present to things like health inspector, MCD, police, local goons. You're like, ye kahan exist karte the? Because all of us are typing our life away on our laptops, believing that we know the world. The same street you walk without really caring for things, if you actually start doing business on that street, you will start looking at that street very, very differently. And all the stakeholders came to us. We started dealing with them. We were like, what the hell did we get ourselves into? And dealt with it for a couple of months, 3 months actually. And after that, we decided this is it. Write off this money. We spent 28 lakhs, to open that. Back in 2010, 11, that also sounded like. And we said, okay, galti ho gayi hai, write off karo, aage badho. Hamare paas time nahi hai to really go through this shit. But then your your ego also comes in front and you're like, देख लेते हैं. और 3 महीने में we solved a lot of stuff already. पुलिस से दोस्ती कर ली थी, MCD समझ लिया था, staff union build हो गई थी, break हो गई थी, changeover हो गया था. So by that time we solved so much that we are like, we have already gone through the shit, right? So let's continue. As soon as we embraced the restaurant, we said, okay, let's build tech for it, because those were our real instincts. So we built this product to help that cause. And we gave ourselves 3 to 6 months, to be honest. But we ended up running that restaurant for 22 months before selling it in January 12, after starting Posist. So basically we sold after Posist was born. But उसके बाद मजा आने लगा. फिर अगले 3 महीने में we fixed a lot of things, and that became the real training ground and testing ground for all what we do today.
So in a way, I would say, like, obviously every mistake behind it has a lesson or even a bigger story that it has led to.
Option नहीं है ना सर. I think मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि being able to move on from your mistakes without learning and putting that learning to use is a luxury, which we did not have.
But then you found Posist, right? And this is, I think, 2011, roughly, when the idea came up,
yes.
Right? And it obviously came from a personal pain point, right?
Yeah.
And how important, like, I think it's a very important thing, because most people don't realize that how much a personal pain point drives you to start a business, and how much you're willing to persevere for that business because that pain point was so strong. So maybe you could talk about how where did it come from, like where did the idea come from, and then how
No, I think this is something which I evangelize, or rather I think this is also my thesis, to invest as an angel, and we can talk about it later. But unless you have really felt a pain yourself, or unless you have been a part of some problem which you are trying to solve, I don't think, one, that you'll be able to truly empathize with the user. See, you can observe and learn, that's okay, but that's overrated. For example, a lot of people think that they can go and do a survey in the market and figure out an idea. If that was true, every journalist in this country would have been a billionaire, right? Because their job is to survey and interview, right? Your ability to interview without empathy is extremely underrated. You have to have that empathy to really get the insight out of that interview. मैं अनिरुद्ध से पूछ रहा हूँ कि as an investor, what are your feelings and what do you think and what do you see? I mean, you can give me whatever answer you want, right? But that answer will remain for me, because I don't really know what you're talking about. But if I am also an investor, big or small, whatever you're going to tell me, it is going to hit so hard, because I am 101% sure I have been a part of that emotion in a big or a small way. So I think being a part of the problem is something which I really say that please don't look for great ideas. Please don't look for great. I mean, Flipkart को कोई great idea थोड़ी था. Book बेचना कोई profound idea होता है क्या? मतलब restaurant का software बनाना कोई profound idea थोड़ी है. मतलब ये तो basic है. आप. But if you have empathy, then you can actually start recognizing the core problems and then start solving it. And whoever also believes in that core problem will become your buyer. So our sales thesis has been that ask questions from the prospect till the point he cries, and after he cries, then save the damsel in distress and win it over. It's okay.
Wow, I mean, we're gonna get into that, because your sales strategy is something very much. So, in fact, last week we had Abhishek Rungta, right, on, and he was, and I think there's a bit of a connection now, because you also raised money from Morpheus, right, and he was an LP at Morpheus.
Yes. I met Abhishek for the first time at a Morpheus event only, when we were inducted as a part of our first batch.
So could tell us the experience, because I mean, so interestingly, Morpheus was the first, when I started my angel journey in India. Morpheus was actually the first, you could say, startup accelerator I ever visited in life. I mean, I landed in Chandigarh thinking I'm going to see this amazing accelerator. People are talking Morpheus, cool name. I'm a big fan of Matrix, expecting some crazy, like, quick hardware, and you get there and you're like, this is an accelerator? Wait, someone
Morpheus,
chai on the side.
And then we owe a lot to Morpheus. I think that Morpheus stays inside us, forever. I think Morpheus was actually a cult.
Office
I
gang as it's called.
Oh, absolutely. It's called Morpheus Gang today. And I think I have tons of 2 a.m. friends and 2 a.m. founders. And Morpheus stopped its accelerator program, I think, back in 2015, early. And I can tell you it's been 5 years. Still, I can call anybody from Morpheus Gang and just say that I'm from Morpheus, and shit will get done if it is in their hands. So it was very, very strong. It was extremely good experience there. We were not accelerated per se by Morpheus, and that's also very, very important if anybody finds value in it. I think one thing which I have really learned and I continue to do is that I gather a lot of good people in life across all facets, and it has never resulted in anything bad. It has definitely resulted in a lot good. So Morpheus also came on board like that. So when we were selling our telecom company, Sakshi was shutting down her services company. We were thinking of selling off this restaurant. Me and Sakshi were in this massive conundrum because all the three businesses were making money, and you don't know what to shut down. And advice on every side is कि तुम्हारा दिमाग खराब हो गया, तुम्हें पैसे ज़्यादा आ रहे हैं, तुम्हें एहसास नहीं हो रहा है, and things like that. And we are like कि नहीं, आप समझ नहीं रहे हो, ये हम दोबारा बना सकते हैं. What we are trying to do is something else. Sameer and Nandini of Morpheus, the founders of Morpheus, they were the ones who really helped us and who helped us for next 3 months. They were on calls with us every other day, helping us navigate different situations. And then when we incorporated Posist, that's when we called Sameer and said ki, yaar, we want you on board. And they said ki nahi aa sakte hain because we have this Morpheus program and we are committed to the LPs there. And so we cannot have a position in your company. But don't worry, we are friends and we'll call you to Morpheus meetups and all. I said, nahi. Aap Morpheus mein hame bula lo. So he said, that's a problem because we don't know anything about your industry. You already have run a company. You're not raising money. You sold one. All the check boxes are done. We cannot provide any value. And we will take 7% equity as a part of the accelerator. So our problem is that we cannot take it from you because we are not going to add any value. I was again blown away, and me and Sakshi discussed, and me and Sakshi had this funny conversation wherein I said, yaar, Sameer aise keh raha hai? Sakshi said, to tere ko kuch takleef hai 7% mein? I said, nahi. So I said, phir? So I called him back. I said, 7% is okay. Can you now come in? He said, sure. Form bhar do. Aa jao. And हमने एक form fill किया, and we were called to Goa for a meetup.
You filled the form. You actually filled the form.
I filled the form, and
we have a form thanks to the conversation with Sameer, right? So we have a form to fill out.
Wow, dude, it was a long form. It took me 1.5 hours.
We do. We've got such amazing responses. Why not to fill it out, right?
And
but we're like, let's fill it out. It's not happening.
I enjoyed filling that form so much. I can't tell you. 1.5 घंटा it was a zen state. मैंने अपनी पूरी life till then के सारे emotion डाल दिए थे उसके अंदर. So and I think Morpheus was so authentic and real कि हम इस फॉर्म को भरने के 1 हफ्ते बाद हमें कॉल आ गई. हम गोवा चले गए. गोवा में उनका cohort start हो रहा था. So they used to do this Morpheus Gurukul, which was like at a location, used to call all the startups and the new batch. One of the LPs who flew in from Dubai, his name was Anil. He met me and he said, oh, you are Ashish, oh, you are Sakshi. Guys, I have a question for you. I said, kya? Tumne kyun join kiya Morpheus? Morpheus is not going to add any value to you. And I read your form and I saw your credentials. You don't need it. Why did you give us free equity? So we were consistently blown away by the authenticity that nobody was pretending to be anyone. And I had to finally ask Sameer one day कि यार तुम हमें निकालना चाहते हो क्या? क्योंकि हर आदमी हमसे आके ऐसी बात करता है कि जिसमें वो हमें डाउट में डाल रहा है कि हमने कुछ गलत कर दिया. But I think what I'm trying to talk about is authenticity. I think that shaped us very, very well. हमारे सॉफ्टवेयर प्रोडक्ट को SaaS में कन्वर्ट करने का आइडिया समीर नंदिनी का था. हमारा पहला छोटा फंडरेज था जिसको हम फंडरेज काउंट नहीं करते, वो मॉर्फियस का पार्ट था, वो उनकी तरफ से आया था. हमारी फर्स्ट इन्वेस्टर पिचेस वहां से आई. And I think it was a great entry into a great ecosystem, which continues.
And then you raised one more round. I think you raised the angel round in 2014.
14 October. We were one of the first. We were the first company to raise from Let's Venture.
Wow.
Yeah. So
and then you said no more fundraising.
Not really. But as I said, funding की तो जरूरत पड़ती रहती है क्योंकि आपकी aspirations आपसे आगे रहती है हमेशा. And आपको हमेशा लगता है जैसे आपको एक $100,000 कॉन्ट्रैक्ट मिलता है और आपको लगता है oh my god, I'm missing so much in the world. I should be on every billboard. I should be going all out. I should have 100 salespeople all across. So I think we are also not away from those emotions. Just that stupidity or fundamentals, दोनों में से क्या वो समय बताएगा, but something pulls you back and says कि chill, relax, it's okay, and this capital you also need to execute with it. So 14 के बाद I think we thought of raising multiple times. In fact, we were fortunate to get few term sheets in 15. These were inbound fortunately. But यार वो सारे VCs जो हैं वो अच्छे लोग थे काफी.
We're gonna get to that VC thing in a bit.
No. The point here. They wanted us to become something else. So all the term sheets came with also terms and conditions, which said कि अरे तुम तो बहुत अच्छे हो, Zomato क्यों नहीं बन जाते? अरे जो हम हैं वो बनने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, right? किसी ने बोला कि हाँ you are very right, you're B2B, वो वाला VC बेवकूफ है, B2C करना चाहता है, तुम B2B हो, I am with you. हमने लगा ये अच्छा आदमी. तो उसने बोला कि चलो तुम Shadowfax या रोड रनर बन जाओ. मैंने बोला कि यार ये मतलब हम वो ना रहें जो हम हैं, हम कुछ और बन जाएं. So then we realized कि यार it's not really them, it is their thesis that they are not trying to invest in you, they are trying to invest in something which they either missed out on or what they believe is going to be a higher high, which is fair. So we realized कि यार ये fitment नहीं है. It's not कि वो गलत है या वो सही है. मतलब ठीक है, Shadowfax भी अच्छी कंपनी है, Zomato भी अच्छी कंपनी है, तो इसका मतलब किसी की thesis तो ठीक थी ही, but हम भी उतना बुरा नहीं कर रहे. So we never raised money because this conundrum never got solved. कि one, we should raise money or not, or in all honesty, we never also realized or saw a good partner who was really building for B2B SaaS, who was ready to do this journey from SMB to enterprise, who from India to global, not selling cheap but premium. जब ये सारे check boxes लगाते हैं तो सारे VCs के बाहर गिर जाते हैं. So they call this friction. So I don't really understand that. I think they're right, but I think I think we realize that our business is probably not their business.
So in fact, when we talk about friction, and I think we spoke about this in our pre-show, right? And I completely agree with you on this, by the way, because I also come from a self-made or you could say a bootstrap business kind of a background, did door-to-door sales, and I never understood why VCs or even entrepreneurs in India always feel that it's not good to ask for money for what you're doing, right? There's this whole thing about let's do free trials. And I know the first person that I ever found who could actually agree with me, and this was obviously 5 years ago when we met, was you, who said, you know what, we don't do free trials. And I was like, where have you been in India? Why didn't we meet earlier? Right? So maybe, because I know, but you started off by doing a free trial strategy and then obviously you changed. So I think for every user, and I believe this is a great lesson for all these people who are listening in, you were doing free trials as a B2B SaaS platform that every other user expects, right? And then something happened and then you changed. So let's talk about that story. Take your time with all that emotion that we've had on this before.
Yeah, free trial say, I think especially in the B2B use case, problem with free trial is that, I strongly believe that if you're selling a B2B product, you're technically selling to a business user or an organization. फंडामेंटली उसको अपना समय खर्चना है आपके ऊपर और उसका प्रॉब्लम है और उसका प्रॉब्लम आपका प्रोडक्ट यूज करना नहीं है. हिज प्रॉब्लम इज हिज बिजनेस, समथिंग व्हिच गिव्स हिम मनी. सो फॉर एग्जांपल, व्हेन यू हैव एन एम्प्लॉई, your problem of that employee is not equivalent to his salary. Your problem is 10x of his salary because this employee is supposed to generate 10x business for you, right?
Exactly.
So when you are looking at selling to a business, your bigger question should be that what is that 10x return or 2x return which this person is trying to get off me? And if the answer is no, then probably you will never sell anyway. What we realized early on was कि हम लोग पहले कभी फ्री ट्रायल नहीं देते थे. ओके, सो दिस इज इंपॉर्टेंट टू अंडरस्टैंड. हम लोग ट्रेडिशनल सॉफ्टवेयर बेच रहे थे, ट्रेडिशनल इंडस्ट्री को. रेस्टोरेंट ओनर था और हम उस एरा में शुरू हुए थे 2011-12 में, जब वी वर नॉट. सो आई रिमेंबर वन स्टोरी वेयर we used to sell it for 12,000 rupees per restaurant per year. I remember one day a sales guy of ours came very, very happy. What a sell, what a meeting. One meeting, 12,000 rupees check on table, signed, done. The guy was bursting out of himself. कि ये क्या हुआ है, मैं अमेजिंग हूँ या आज किस्मत अच्छी है। हमने बोला कि तो काफी काफी सही है। 3 दिन बाद डिप्लॉयमेंट डे है, वहां से ओनर का फोन आता है गालियां देते हुए कि तुम हमें बेवकूफ समझते हो, तुम्हारे को मैं अंदर करा दूंगा। और सो द गाय इज लाइक एग्जैक्टली क्या हुआ? कह रहा है वो कंप्यूटर किधर है? सर कंप्यूटर, सर कंप्यूटर तो आपके पास होगा। तो कह रहे फिर आपको किस बात के पैसे दिए हैं? बोला सर हम तो सिर्फ सॉफ्टवेयर है। बोला तुम पागल हो, सॉफ्टवेयर के पैसे थोड़ी होते हैं, पॉस मशीन के पैसे होते हैं। And that's when we realize, I mean, this is the level where this guy was continuously saying, सर हमको पॉज दे रहे हैं। वो कह रहा था कि अरे वाह 12,000 रुपए में तो आप तो बड़े अच्छे लोग हो, बिकॉज उसका 1 लाख रुपए लग रहा है, मशीन ही 70,000 रुपए की है। सो आई थिंक पॉइंट इज दैट what we were selling versus what this guy was solving for was very very different। इसमें फ्री ट्रायल का स्पेस किधर है? He has invested 50 lakhs to few crores in the restaurant. He is buying a tech which is going to run his show. He is going to make from 10 lakhs to a crore per month in revenue. He has staff of 20-30 people who's going to use this product. Why do you need a free trial? Ideally, there should be some money on table to even use this, because his organizational time is going to get used. His waiter is going to learn your product even to try. So our basic principle was that जब ट्रेनिंग उतनी ही देनी है, ट्राई पूरा करना है, आपका पूरा रेस्टोरेंट इसके ऊपर चलने वाला है, and if you're buying a software, let's say for $12,000, pay at least 3,000 rupees for trial. So this was our first paid trial checkbox. And और उससे पहले क्या हो रहा था? For 3 months when we launched SaaS, this was January, February 12, हमारे, I mean, I would have drawn a graph if I had the whiteboard. हमारा ट्रायल का ग्राफ ऐसे जा रहा था, think of it like an exponential curve.
Yeah.
And then उसके नीचे हल्का सा मैग्नीट्यूड करके पेड कन्वर्जन का ग्राफ जा रहा था, और ये मैग्नीट्यूड में काफी फर्क था ऑफ कोर्स। एंड इट वाज ओके बिकॉज आपको ज्ञान मिलता है, इतने ट्रायल, इतनी परसेंटेज, अरे 5% कन्वर्ट हो रहा है, तुम तो चैंप हो, तो आपको लगता है कि मैं कुछ ठीक ही कर रहा हूँ। बट यू डोंट क्वेश्चन कि ये जो मेरा 95% एफर्ट जा रहा है, ये मेरा जा रहा है, ये इसकी परसेंटेज और इसके अग्री करने से कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता। सो व्हेन वी स्टार्टेड क्वेश्चनिंग दैट एफर्ट, हमने बोला कि यार हम पेड ट्रायल करेंगे, तो वी एक्चुअली एक्सपेक्टेड दैट दिस मैग्नीट्यूड ऑफ बोथ द ग्राफ्स विल फॉल, that free trials will go lower, and then conversion, probably the difference will go lower, so we'll be fine, right? What happened was something very different. Free trial का ग्राफ यूं जाते जाते नीचे आने लगा, so it became like this, and direct conversion का ग्राफ इंटरसेक्ट करके इसको ऊपर निकल गया, so they became like this, and हमें समझ नहीं आया कि ये क्या हुआ। So that's when we realized कि जैसे ही सेल्स पिच खत्म होती थी, रेस्टोरेंट ओनर यूज्ड टू आस्क कि फिर आगे नेक्स्ट स्टेप क्या है? ट्रायल चलाते हैं। तो सर नॉन रिफंडेबल 3,000 रुपीज ट्रायल। सर अच्छा, और ये क्यों करोगे? थोड़ी बहस बहस, एंड देन ही विल से कि अच्छा, और अगर टोटल कितने का है? सर 12,000। बोला वापस बैठ। मैनेजर को बुलाया। अब ये मीटिंग जो 1 घंटे में खत्म हुई है, दिस बिकेम 3.5 hours, एंड डील साइन राइट हियर। लोगों ने ट्रायल पे ही जाना बंद कर दिया, which was absolutely unexpected. We never thought about it, right? And that's when we realized कि यार ये intent है, and what got filtered from it was only intent. So another popular opinion was internally as well as externally was that you are going to lose a lot of deals. Correct. The fact that we only lost fat. Only people who were just curious about कि अच्छा आओ, क्या नया लाए हो दिखाओ। अरे ये we are not in the business of entertainment. तेरे को लेना है तो तू बता, हम पूरी जान लगाएंगे। But if you are, so I think back to the founder's question, whenever I see a founder talking about a free trial, not asking for money, not asking money from early users, early adopters, तब मुझे लगता है कि यार उस फाउंडर को मैं जब भी डिग किया है, उसको अपनी सर्विस, अपने प्रोडक्ट, अपनी मार्केट पे कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं है, उसको अभी भी क्वेश्चन है। नॉट दैट ही इज अ बैड फाउंडर और अ बैड प्रोडक्ट, बट somewhere deep inside he is not very clear that why does he exist. If you are clear why do you exist, then it's easy, because उसको प्रॉब्लम है, तेरे पास सोल्यूशन है, पैसे ना मांगने का तो कोई चांस ही नहीं है। इनफैक्ट अर्ली अडॉप्टर से पैसे लेना और भी ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है, बिकॉज इफ यू वांट टू गेट किल्ड, यू वांट टू गेट किल्ड अर्ली, यू डोंट वांट टू गेट किल्ड लेट। अगर आपका 1 साल बाद कोई बताता है कि भाई साहब यू आर नॉट वर्थ इट, then you've lost a year, you've lost money, now you have lost hope. If somebody tells you that within first month, you still have a lot of hope because you can go back to that guy and ask them कि अच्छा क्या करूं जो पैसे दोगे.
Yeah, correct.
वो बता दो, आपको मेरा नहीं पसंद आ रहा ना, तो आप वो बता दो जो करना है, मेरे को एटलीस्ट समझ आ जाएगा. And I've seen so many founders have discovered so many good and bad things just because they asked for money. I reject everyone at the thesis level whenever they tell me that there is a free trial going on. I'm like, boss, पैसे लेके आ, तू चाहे 2,000 रुपए लेके आ, तेरे को लगता है 2,000 रुपए आसान है. You will be surprised when you ask for that $2,000. It's not really the quantum of money, it's the intent which a B2B buyer has. If they don't need your product, they will not give you 2 rupees, leave alone 2,000.
But how do you then solve for this, Ashish? Is that, and this is again a common thing, right? When the founder says, but I have to give a free trial because everybody else who is a comparable is giving a free trial. So every other Posist type of platform is giving a free trial. So how do I go and tell this guy, you got to pay? Because he's going to say, I can go to somebody.
So that means you're not differentiated anyway, right? So फिर साबुन ही बेच लेना. So my answer to that is कि if you are actually comparable to everyone else in your market, then why are you wasting so many resources and money in building this product? Why don't you take agency from them and sell their product? I know it sounds harsh, but that's actually the fact. If you think about it, I am in the business of building a product which is differentiated either to a need or to a certain sliver of the market or a certain cohort. But if you're not differentiated across, that means you're a commodity. That means you're not in the business of product. So you have to first stop calling yourself a product company. You can be a distribution company. That is okay. So think about distribution. And फिर तू बेचने क्यों जा रहा है? फिर तू सबसे सस्ता बेच और सबसे masses में बेच. ऑटो के पीछे ad लगा कि 1,000 रुपए में GST software, which is also great business, by the way. I don't really look at those businesses bad. In fact, I have huge respect for them because those businesses are solving for distribution. Problem is that if you're masquerading around as a product company, you're talking about UX, UI, problem you solve, user, customer success. If you're talking about this much, and आखिरी में आप कहते हो कि ना यूजर मेरी बात नहीं समझ पा रहा, तो यूजर बेवकूफ नहीं, आप बेवकूफ, आपका प्रॉब्लम है. आप यूजर की बात नहीं समझ पा रहे हो. अगर आप यूजर की बात समझोगे, and so ideally in your pitch, Anirudh, a user should differentiate you in next 15 seconds. So I'll take Posist's example. If a Posist salesperson comes to you as a restaurant owner and you ask him कि हाँ हमने बहुत POS देखे हैं, तुम बताओ क्या लाए हो नया, and अगर वो अगले 1 से 5 मिनट के अंदर ये establish नहीं कर पाता है कि हम क्यों हैं और हम different हैं और हम क्या प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व कर रहे हैं, तो मैं आपको बता रहा हूं वो डील नहीं कर पाएगा, वो जो मर्जी कर लेगा. तो दैट्स व्हाई आई एम सेइंग कि आवर सेल्स पीपल आस्क मोर क्वेश्चंस देन गिव मोर आंसर्स. एंड अगर आपको ट्राई करना है, आई कैन आस्क एवरीबॉडी टू गिव इट अ शॉट. आप हमारी सेल्स टीम में से किसी से पिच लेके दिखा दो बिना ये बताए कि आप कौन हो, क्या करते हो, आपकी एग्जैक्ट प्रॉब्लम क्या है. आप उसे बोल के दिखा दो कि मेरा तो सब सही चल रहा है, मैं तो सोच रहा हूं कि तुम्हें भी एक मौका दूं मेरे को सर्व करने का. And you will actually hear a comment back saying humbly, कि sir, in fact, let's not fix what is not broken. आपको कोई प्रॉब्लम हो तो बताना, हम हाजिर हो जाएंगे. अगर आपका ठीक चल रहा है तो our advice is कि like continue. Don't waste your time.
This is profound advice. I mean, Ashish, I think you should write a book on this because honestly, this is I can't tell you how many times. And the funny thing is, I am not an investor in your company, right? But I have used your example with so many people. To say कि बस अगर वो कर सकता है, and in a market जहाँ पर restaurant owners are not people that want to pay, and I can tell you that because my family runs restaurants, so I know that convincing my dad to pay 10,000 rupees for a software it would be easier for me to convince him to buy another Mercedes, right? that's how I feel, and he's my money too, right? So by
the way, on that, today we don't sell for 12,000, we sell for 2.5 lakh per restaurant per year. So we took our price up by 10x to 20x, over the course of years, and that is for the same reason. And I deal in a market where if you will search restaurant point of sale, 100 examples will come out, and most of them will be only competing for 1,000 rupees per year to 15,000 rupees per year. This is the range of competition.
But actually, do you think ever that then and obviously with all the challenges, you never raised a ton of money, so there wasn't so much PR that was happening about this is Posist, that is Posist, because always people that have raised a ton of money have advertising budgets and PR budgets and branding budgets, and you didn't have any of that. You had customer capital. But did you expect at one day we'll be sitting over here and you'll be saying, you know what? Right now, empowering 8,000 restaurants. 8,000 into 30 employees on average per restaurant. Today, 2.5 lakh people out there, right, are getting food on the table.
Actual count of our users is 1,18,000.
1,18,000. There you go. Did you imagine that you could scale it to that level at some point?
I will say yes and no. I think in our own naive way, in 2014 when we were raising this fund, a few angel investors asked us कि कितना हो जाएगा? तो हमने बोला कि 50,000 restaurants someday. So तब हमें ये बहुत बड़ा नंबर लग रहा था और हमें कोई आइडिया नहीं था यहाँ पहुंचना कैसे. अच्छा वो उसने फॉलोअप क्वेश्चन नहीं पूछा. अगर उसने फॉलोअप क्वेश्चन पूछ लिया होता तो लग जाती कि कैसे पहुंचना. कोई आइडिया नहीं. But I think Anirudh, I will tell you what was the belief and what is still the belief, by the way. So I think it is still 8,000 sounds like a good enough number, but I still call it like a validated number. मतलब मुझे ऐसा लगता है जब मैं अभी अपना लोगो कैटलॉग देखता हूँ तो मुझे लगता है कि यार हम validated है, हम ना ये proof of concept है. This means that shit works and we know something which is right. But actually इसका क्या magnitude होना चाहिए मुझे नहीं लगता कि हम उसके we are even scratching that surface. And I'm not really saying this in a profound way, still day one, still day zero, not really. I really mean it that we genuinely believe that if a customer in Romania or if a customer in Kenya or if a customer in US can use me, तो मुझे लगता है कि okay, ये proof of concept है. Now everybody in Kenya, Tanzania, Romania and US should use me. So it's that feeling, right? So I think हमने ये तो नहीं सोचा था कि number क्या होगा. But one thing which was always there was that we wanted to serve the McDonald's of the world. In 2012, if you would have asked me, I would have said कि अगर मैं ये सॉफ्टवेयर बना रहा हूं तो मुझे ये तो नहीं पता कब, पर ये गारंटी है that best of the best restaurants in the world will have to use me one day. At least my pursuit is that. It is not a challenge to them. My pursuit is that if I have decided to build this one product and if I'm not doing anything else, अब मैं कितना lose कर दिया e-commerce, hyperlocal, fintech, मैं कितना loss पे चल रहा हूँ, right? The only possibility I have in life is to do justice with this, and the only justice I can do is that can a Michelin star in New York use my product? Can a 3 Michelin star in New York use my product? So today that's a reality, and I think wow. For us having some of the logos just feels that कि यार a Taco Bell was able to believe in us enough, or they felt that we are credible enough, or the product is safe enough to be used in their multi-billion-dollar stakes chain. I think that's the responsibility which I feel, and I'm actually much more kicked about that piece. So आज मुझे नहीं पता कि अगले 3 से 4 साल में कितने restaurants हमें use करेंगे. Will it be 50,000 or 100,000 or 400,000? But what I can definitely promise is that top 400 brands in the world across countries will be using us. That's exactly what we are rooting for and working for. And I don't know how many years will it take, but हमारे पास भी कोई time की कमी नहीं है.
Let's start with talking about Sakshi. Sakshi and you are co-founders. In fact, I think in all the groups in the 17 episodes, you're the third co-founding couple. And so tell me, like, I know you guys met in college, all this stuff, but what is it like to work with your wife, who's also a co-founder?
I think it's a bliss. It's an absolute bliss because one is that I think you don't have this personal, professional issue life problem. Actually, Sakshi completes me in most of the areas. मेरी औकात नहीं है उसको complete करने की because जो मैं करता हूँ वो करती है, जो मैं नहीं कर पाता वो बहुत अच्छा करती है. For example, I'm not numbers driven in the sense that I'm not an Excel sheet guy. I'm very, very gut driven, creative. I will get the creative solution out of problems. She is a heavy lifter. She will roll up the sleeves and she will say कि बताओ क्या करना है, and she will move mountains when it comes to structure, process, numbers, documents, sheets, people. like she will just straighten it out like a pro. मेरे को अगर आपने दे दिए बहुत सारे डॉक्यूमेंट, मैं बेहोश हो जाऊंगा. मैं तो आपको बोलूंगा कि तू इसमें से पढ़ के बताता जा, मैं तेरे को बताता हूँ इसका क्या क्रिएटिव सोल्यूशन, राइट? So that's one. Second is that one thing which I will say, which I will actually tell you one anecdote in our journey. I call, जो मैंने अभी कमेंट बोला ना कि she completes me but I can't complete her, that's actually true. I call her the full stack entrepreneur. Sakshi's journey started with Posist on the tech role, and she was in product management and she was working with the tech team. She was not really coding because she left coding, while in her services company, and we have a CTO. So she started doing the project management and the product management early on. Then she started moving to operations as we started scaling, and तब तक मुझे लगता था कि मैं सेल्स स्टैम्प, और उसको भी लगता था मैं सेल्स स्टैम्प, उस सबको लगता था कि मैं ही हूँ सेल्स वाला, क्योंकि हम सबको लगता है कि सेल्स वाला वो होता है जो बक बक कर सकता है, बट एक्चुअली सेल्स वाला वो होता है जो सुन सकता है. लिसनिंग कैपेसिटी आपकी बहुत ज्यादा होनी चाहिए.
So true.
2014-15 was the time when we were transitioning our product from a 12,000 rupees to this 2 lakh rupees. We were also rewriting our entire product. So we were relaunching our product for the enterprise first segment. And I'm a fan of rewriting of products, by the way. But that can, make for a conversation some other day. We were trying to think about building an inside sales team. अब क्या हो रहा था कि हमारी तो सारी फील्ड सेल्स टीम थी, हमें फील्ड सेल्स की आदत थी. Our head of sales at that time was also a field sales guy. He used to report into me. And inside sales में हमने कुछ लोग हायर करने की कोशिश करी. BPO से लिए नहीं चले, कभी वो हमें पसंद नहीं आते थे, कभी उनको हम पसंद नहीं आते थे, कल्चर फिटमेंट, बहुत सारी प्रॉब्लम चल रही थी. और हमारे यहाँ ना इटरेशन नहीं है इन जनरल. सो पहले कुछ महीनों में 3 लोग हायर किए, तीनों छोड़ गए. फिर 6 लोग हायर किए, 4 को हमने भगा दिया, दो खुद भाग के चले गए. तो हम 6 महीने में ना बहुत परेशान हो गए कि यार पूरी कंपनी में अट्रेशन नहीं है, ये एक ऐसी टीम है जो बनी नहीं रही है. एंड और हमें समझ भी नहीं आ रहा था. हमें एक चीज समझ आई कि यार हमारा जो हेड ऑफ सेल्स है वो फील्ड वाला आदमी है, और प्रोबेबली वो इनसाइड सेल्स का डीएनए नहीं है, एंड कुछ और करना पड़ेगा. सो साक्षी फाइनली वॉलंटियर्ड. उसने बोला यार तुम सब छोड़ो, सबसे पहले ना मैं ये जानना चाहती हूँ कि ये भाग क्यों जाते हैं, ये क्या हो रहा है उधर. तो साक्षी ने अपनी सीट चेंज करी और उसने उस ऑफिस के सेक्शन में लगा ली जहां पे ये इनसाइड सेल्स टीम आती थी, और हमने एक और फ्रेश बैच ऑफ 7-8 पीपल हायर किया. ये लास्ट शॉट है, इसके बाद इनसाइड सेल्स टीम नहीं बनाएंगे. तो हमने फ्रेशर्स हायर किए इधर उधर से, और हमने साक्षी ने वहां लगाई. साक्षी ने अगले दिन से थोड़ा देखना शुरू किया, उनकी पिच, उनकी ट्रेनिंग. शी स्टार्टेड डाइविंग इनटू इट, क्योंकि अब सुन रही है तो ये तो ऑटो मैजिक है. आप एज एन एंटरप्रेन्योर आप शांत तो नहीं बैठ सकते. तो वो घुस गई उसके अंदर. फिर एक दिन उसने बोला कि यार मुझे CRM एक्सेस चाहिए, आई रियली वांट टू सी व्हाट्स आवर प्रोसेस एंड व्हाट आर वी डूइंग अबाउट इट. फिर वो CRM में घुस गई. एंड एज आई सेड, शी कैन वर्क इन नंबर्स एंड थिंग्स. एंड उसने अगले 2 हफ्ते सबकी नाक में दम कर दिया, बिकॉज उसने बोला कि ये सब गलत है और ये क्या बकवास है, ये क्या मचा रखा है. And then one day she called me and she said, I have some questions. I said, okay, ask. She said, no, I need to ask our head of sales. I said, sure, go ask him. She said, no, these are hard questions. I said, okay, ask. She said, no, you're not understanding. You may lose him. I said, ouch. So then I said, okay, if we will lose him because he could not answer your questions, I think good riddance. Go ask. And I'm sure I'm a part culprit in that. He reports into me, so it is my responsibility as well. I would love to be a part of that session as well. And I think, long story short, that guy, Sakshi took over, the sales team, the field sales team as well. Like in March of 16, that is when we relaunched our, product, the 2.0 version, enterprise version. The new pricing, team was also churning, by the way. As I said, 80% team fell off the cliff, right? So 12 और 24,000 का product बेचने वाले 1,20,000 और 2,40,000 नहीं कर सकते थे, तो वो भी change हो रहा था. This head of sales was also a great guy, but then he was not able to adapt to that. So when Sakshi took over, this guy was also given 6-8 months because he also built Posist with us till then. But we were also in this conundrum कि यार ये आदमी overnight dud कैसे हो गया, ये तो कल तक rockstar था. But then we realized कि यार gears switch हो गए, और Abhi current version mein he may look like a dud, but he's not. And we communicated this to him. It was very hard conversation. Gave him 4 months and gave him all the support to adapt through it. He finally could not. April 16, he had to quit. Anirudh, what I can tell you is that 16 March, Sakshi took over like in a quasi head of sales role, and August 16 she took over as the CRO. Because after in March to August, it was very, very clear to me कि भाई तेरे को नहीं आता revenue चलाना, ऐसे चलता है revenue. And I think from that point till today, we have grown 35x.
Wow.
आज का तो चलो छोड़ो. In year 16, in 16-17 we grew 8x.
In a year.
Yeah, in a year. That first year of her taking over. And her revenue discipline was very, very different. Her sales structure, she also structured the sales team in a very different way. And I think she was coming from a very solid first principles approach because she had not done sales ever in life. And her approach was very, very different. In fact, her approach was so different that, we also felt, and she also agreed between 16-17, कि यार ये जो structure उसने बनाया है ना, ये scale नहीं करेगा. ये अच्छा चल रहा है. इसको जितना growth खींच सकते हैं खींचते हैं, पर ये scale नहीं मारेगा structure. Till today, that is the structure. In fact, that structure has scaled across geographies. Our Latin America, GCC, US, Southeast Asia, India team, all are in the same structure. And it is a structure which is a very collaborative structure for sales team. हमारी sales team में अलग-अलग लोग collaborate करते हैं on deal to deal basis. There is not one team, one region. वो इलाका कुत्तों का होता है, शेर अकेले आते हैं. So that was the first principle. कि ये क्या बकवास है? कि बॉम्बे की लीड बॉम्बे वाले को जाएगी, बैंगलोर की लीड बैंगलोर वाले को जाएगी, नॉर्थ दिल्ली की लीड नॉर्थ दिल्ली. ये क्या बकवास है? Her point was that leads should be given to salespeople basis their EQ and IQ, their their prowess in what sector. So, for example, अगर कोई लाला जी है रेस्टोरेंट ओनर, उसके पास आपको इंग्लिश बोलने वाला आदमी चाहिए क्या? नो, यू नीड अ हाई EQ गाय. आपका सेल्स वाला ऐसा होना चाहिए कि लाला जी सिर्फ सॉफ्टवेयर ना खरीद रहे हैं, लड़के को भी गोद ले लें. दैट शुड बी द इमोशन इन दैट, राइट? तो वो लीड उसको जाएगी. अगर लार्ज एंटरप्राइज लीड है और कैलकाटा की है और बैंगलोर में हमारा एक आदमी है जो चैंपियन है व्हेन इट कम्स टू लार्ज एंटरप्राइजेस, उसको जाएगी, वो फ्लाई करेगा. एंड आवर ट्रैवल बिल केम टू अ पॉइंट that in 2017 we removed approvals in travel. So in our sales team we have no approval structure for any travel whatsoever. You have the travel concierge, you can book your tickets, you can fly wherever. क्वार्टर और मंथ के एंड में बता देना कहां गए थे, क्यों गए थे, क्या आउटपुट आया. एंड यू कैन फ्लाई एनीवेयर, लाइक एनी कंट्री, एनी सिटी, एनी स्टेट. वी विल ट्रस्ट यू कि नीड होगी तभी तो गया है, वरना क्यों जाए. एंड दैट ऑल्सो चेंज्ड वन थिंग, दैट वी स्टॉप्ड हायरिंग पीपल इन डिफरेंट सिटीज एंड कंट्रीज फॉर द सेक ऑफ इट. कि अरे वो आपको इंडोनेशिया में एक आदमी चाहिए. शी वाज लाइक यार क्यों चाहिए इंडोनेशिया में आदमी? इंडोनेशिया में आदमी उस दिन रहेगा जिस दिन या तो हमें ऐसा आदमी मिलेगा जो रहना चाहिए या जरूरत पड़ेगी. इंडोनेशिया की फ्लाइट क्या है, 5-7 घंटे लगते हैं, कभी भी चला जाएगा. तू सैटरडे को हाँ बोल दे, मंडे सुबह मीटिंग में पहुंच जाए, इसमें क्या बात. एंड दैट वाज वेरी, वेरी लिबरेटिंग. Like it was super liberating. Actually, we ended up saving more money in maintaining people who were not needed by giving this leeway to the people we had.
So today, very simple. There's going to be about 10 or 12 questions. First answer that comes to mind, you go for it. And
Okay.
and obviously, I'm sure there's going to be more than something interesting that comes out of it, which will probably lead to another tangent. But let's start with that. So, quick first question for you, Ashish, is a Peter Thiel question. One thing that you know to be true, but very few people agree with you on it.
You don't need tons of funding to create a $1 billion company.
Wow. You don't need tons of money to create a $1 billion company. And I completely agree because I can see that happening right now. One piece of advice to founders about fundraising.
Don't fundraise to survive. Fundraise to try inorganic growth. Try things which you are worried about that you will lose money in. The only use of money is to make mistakes. Things which you already know are right, you don't need money for that. You can work your way out.
Scaling before profitability or profitability before scaling?
Wrong question. Scaling and profit. This question makes scaling and profitability mutually exclusive, and that is one problem with the world. You can scale while being profitable. There are 5,500 plus companies listed on stock market. Only 4 were VC funded. Rest 5,496 companies scaled while being profitable.
Fantastic. Guys, that's your answer. Who is your favorite superhero and why?
If I still have to attempt, I will say Iron Man. The guy, because the guy is real and there is a logic to his superpowers.
If you could pick the brain of one person for 24 hours, ask them anything you want, who would it be?
Elon Musk. I'll be asking him that, how did you know that there is no secret sauce?
How do you know that there's no secret sauce? Elon Musk, if you're listening,
what Elon Musk is doing today is very, very simple. And by simple, I don't really mean I understand him or what he's doing. But what I know is that he is picking up problems and picking up experts to do it and trying to look at the first principle issues with those problems. Now, not trivializing what all goes in it.
Yeah, of course.
At a fundamental level. So, मेरे को ऐसा लगता है कि Elon Musk figured out that there is no secret sauce. He figured कि यार problem है और solve कर सकते हैं, expert को बुलाएंगे, बात करेंगे, पैसा लाएंगे, what is proportionately required, and कुछ करेंगे इसके बारे में. मतलब there is no secret sauce which is going to make your curry or pudding good.
One of these we'll have to put these questions in front of Elon Musk, because you're the third founder. Everyone has a different question to ask. Just so you know, this is not like the same question, but everyone has a different question to ask. One thing you would like to change about the Indian startup ecosystem?
Chase value and create higher quality, higher value products, and please value it themselves. Stop buying this dream of billion people country, $billion valuation company only. Stop that. I think if we start creating higher value products, higher quality products, and we start selling to the world, not by being cheap, but by being competent. I think I'm not too sure in numbers, but I think we have the power to crack some of the largest GDPs, if at all.
Agree. I completely agree with that. I think India does have that. I mean, we're really good salespeople. Let's not forget that. We're amazing salespeople.
See, I think we lack in quality in our thinking, in our approach. India is not known for quality. It is known for bulk. It is known for labor. It is known for workforce. It is known for jugaad. World looks at us like that, which is great. We are actually very good at all this. Can we please stop it? Can we please move on and start worrying about quality? Because मैं भी Swiss watch ही खरीदना चाहता हूँ ना यार. You don't want to buy an watch, right? काय को? Why do you want to buy German cars or Japanese cars? There is a reason for that, right? So I think if we start focusing on quality, a lot will change, because we already have workforce to build it. We just need quality thinking and bias to quality and approach. Applies to everything. Applies to from hardware products to software products to food to utilities. Think of anything, and I believe that India should definitely do that.
When do you get your best work done? Morning or night?
Night. Absolute night owl.
What company in your anti-portfolio hurts you the most as an angel?
Lot of them actually. Recent one, today morning I was talking to my dear friend Saurabh Arora of Plum. उनका advertisement भी कर देते हैं. अगर किसी को insurance चाहिए हो तो look at Plum HQ. So I was telling him कि भाई, I was talking to him and they are about to do something even better than right now. I missed on it. So hurts. I think hurts not from the. I'm not investing enough to really hurt financially, but because I live for being part of that journey. I think it whenever I'm not able to invest in some. One more I will say is Josh. Supriya or Shobit. Hello. Josh.
Got it.
Right? So Josh Talks, basically. Josh Talks.
Yeah.
So Josh Talks, guys, is one company which I missed investing, and I did not invest. I kind of also did not tell them that I'm going to invest, but somewhere I was conflicted ki invest karna ya nahi. And while I love what they've done, and I'm a cheerleader and a well-wisher, but I still, it hurts ki yaar, could have been a part of this.
If you were to be convicted for a crime, what would it be?
Being too honest.
Being too honest.
कोई तो ऑफेंड होके बोलेगा कि इधर आओ तुम, हमारे पापा पुलिस में.
I would add humorously honest. I think that's what you could get convicted for. 3 books you would recommend to any founder.
One is that what got you here won't get you there. Second, which I will definitely recommend 101% to any founder who's trying to take the advice of quality and value. There is a book called Small Giants. Anirudh, I will also recommend. In fact, let me gift it to you. So let me do that. And Small Giants is one book which is fabulous. You will have goosebumps 100 times through the book. I guarantee this. And the byline of the book says, the companies who chose to be great than big. And the last one is going to be a little cliched, hard things about hard things. But I think the only thing which I love about that book is that you may not even learn anything out of it, right? कोई आदमी आपको वो IPO से पहले $1 billion कंपनी का एग्जांपल दे रहा है, मेरे को समझ ही नहीं आ रहा कि ये इमोशन क्या है. मेरे लाखों करोड़ों में चल रहे हैं, मेरे को मालूम ही नहीं $1 billion इमोशन क्या होता है. But it definitely tells you, hard things about hard things will tell you things that it's okay to fuck up, and it's okay to remain fucked up, and it's okay to succeed while feeling miserable all this while.
And with that, I mean, rapid fire comes to an end. Amazing insights. I mean, not like I'm surprised. I obviously expected it, but definitely, I mean, I want to really read this book, Small Giants. I'm going to look forward to that.
100%.
Done, sir. I think we could have taken questions, but I think Ashish, we're gonna really run into 2 hours at this point. So thank you very much for tonight. I think not just me, every single person who's been commenting non-stop about how amazing. I mean, there's this one comment that I'll put here that Vijay S is like, "Hi Ashish, I'm a sales guy. I must admit I've come across a sales guy after a very long time. Commendable and great insights." I think he summarizes it for us. And obviously this was a great, not just a sales journey, but also an entrepreneur's journey, and then also a funded founder's journey, right? And so many other journeys that we've lived together today. I think we should have split this into 2 episodes, but I don't think we could have recreated the energy and the fun that we've had. So thank you so much, Ashish. Really appreciate your time. Really appreciate you being on the show with us. Good night, everybody. See you guys next week.